All right. So have you ever wondered, like, why why are we still talking about this guy, this political thinker from like over 500 years ago?
Yeah.
And this isn't just about like dusty old books, right? This is about understanding power, like how it really works in the world. And today we're diving deep. We're going deep into the world of Niccolo Machiavelli.
Right.
This is a man who basically just said, like, you know what? I'm going to challenge how we even think about leadership.
Yeah. And I think what's so fascinating about Machiavelli is that he was writing during this time of just immense change, right? The Renaissance.
Yeah.
And it's not just, art and this flourishing of culture, but it's also all these old ideas are being challenged and new ways of thinking are coming out.
Yeah.
And his work really captures that.
Yeah. It's like he's looking around at the world, right? And he's seeing how power is actually playing out.
Totally.
Right. He's like, wait a minute. What these philosophers have been saying, not how it's done.
Exactly. He's like Plato, Aristotle, even some of these guys in the church, like all these guys are talking about virtue, morality, like, the ideal way to lead.
Yeah.
And Machiavelli's like, that's cute, but I think you're too focused on appearances rather than results.
Oh, interesting.
And he actually says, he talks about these thinkers imagining republics and principalities that have never been seen or known to exist.
Whoa.
Yeah. He's interested in what he calls the effectual truth.
The effectual truth. So what does that mean? What does that even mean?
Okay. So the effectual truth, it's basically saying, let's focus on what actually works in the real world, not just these abstract ideals.
Okay.
He's looking for the most effective path to achieving a goal.
Right.
Even if it means being really pragmatic or even, maybe even a little ruthless in getting it done.
Ruthless. Okay. So instead of be good, it's like be effective.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that leads us to another one of his like really key concepts. And that's the idea of vert.
Okay.
Now we might think of the word virtue as, like morality and goodness, right?
Right.
But Machiavelli's virtue, it's different. Think of it more as this combination of skill and cunning and even a little bit of that ruthlessness, whatever it takes for a leader to really secure their power and achieve those goals, those big goals they have. Okay, I like it. So can you give me an example though? Like how would virtue actually, like how would it play out in like a real world situation?
Okay. So let's say you've got a ruler and they are facing like a full-on rebellion. Right?
Oh, okay.
Now, a leader who's really focused on traditional virtue, they might prioritize mercy, forgiveness, but a leader who's demonstrating virtue, they're going to be thinking about crushing that rebellion, like fast, decisively.
Yeah.
Even if it takes, some harsh measures
to
get the job done. It's all about choosing the action that's really going to ensure stability, maintain power in the long run. Even if other people look at it and they're like, that doesn't seem very nice. Right. Not very virtuous. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting for me, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because how did these ideas, we're talking 500 years ago, how do they still apply today?
Well, I think a really good example is just to look at international relations.
Okay.
Countries, they make decisions based on their own interests.
Yeah.
Strategic interests. Even if those decisions, might have some ethical implications for other nations.
Right.
Or think about a leader who's having to make this really tough choice. They might even have to compromise on a campaign promise.
Right.
But they need to push through this policy that they really believe is for the greater good.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And these situations, they really echo this Machiavellian focus on pragmatism.
Right.
And I think it kind of shows just this sometimes uncomfortable reality of how power actually works.
So what you're saying is this effectual truth idea, this is still very much in play today, whether we like it or not.
I think so, yeah.
And it really makes you think, is it possible to be a good leader, an ethical leader, and still be effective?
Right.
In this Machiavellian sense.
Yeah.
It's going to be rattling around in my head for a while.
It's a big question.
It's a big question.